What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Quad witching Fridays. So we'll see how this one goes. We got volatility today. I'd expect a really kind of a higher volume and some swings in both directions. Typically morning and then into the closing pretty much. But we got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Brian Carlos. Casanova's in the house. Good morning to you, Cheryl. We got David, Greg, Joe, Kevin, Lou. Lucian's in the house. Good morning, Martina, Peter, Tim Thurman, rocking with us. Good morning to all you guys, all my peeps out in YouTube land. We got Santilla. We got Jenny. Jenny's going good evening. She's ready to go to sleep. She's going to sleep in Australia. Hope you guys are all doing fantastic. But we got the SPY dripping a little bit today. So smack right in the middle between my support resistance. I've got 542.74 as my support on the market. And then I have 547.80. Let's just see what we did pre-market. If you guys got any questions on quad witching, if this is the first quad witching you've been through, let me know. We got 543.93 and 543. We got close to the support. 543. No, we didn't get quite all the way down there. 543.93. So we came in, we retested this high wave. This is also a retest that open. What I would like to see is just almost come down, retest it. I would like to see probably one dip lower into the 542.96. That would just get me good risk to reward because right now it's flip a coin at open with a little bit of, I don't know, we're maybe about 50% retracement of this move. Let's see. Let us see. Yeah, we're opening smack about 50% of this bullish move. So, okay. And then we have, where did we get down to? 543.93, I think. Well, 543.63 is a 618. So we're still kind of hanging in this bounce spot with a retracement gap. So maybe looking for a little pop. But again, I would like to see us sell a little bit. We are below yesterday's low. Maybe get us into that 618 retracement and then look for that bounce. But the first 15 minutes, I do expect some high volatility and just some whipsaws back and forth. Almost would rather buy the dip in the first 15 minutes than sell like some break or buy some breakout plays. Just trying to get it low, try to get some better risk reward on some setups. And then after that, I think after the first 15 minutes, we normalize. And then the last, I don't even want to say 15 minutes, but maybe the last 30 minutes a day, we get a little crazy. We'll see. We got Qs. That one is still inside day from yesterday, but we are below the VPOC. So it is our third day. We got to get, for the Qs, we got to get back above 482.02. And then we got 478.05 as support. So not too wide of a potential move on Qs one direction or the other. And again, today, it could change things in the market, right? We could start seeing bigger pullbacks, bigger moves, but we got to get a lot of those options off the table today. And typically the way the market makers do that is having most of those options, as many as possible, expire worthless, locking some of those gains, those premiums for any of the market sellers. And that's where we probably get some of those wild pushes that come in today. But Richard Jet says, weird, I'm not getting notice when you guys start. Did you have the notification clicked on? The good news, Richard Jet, is it is every day the market's open from 9 to 9:30 a.m. Eastern. The bad news is, I don't know why. I don't know why it should alert you. But that's a YouTube YouTube setting, I guess. I'm not smart enough to be working at YouTube on the algorithms. Cheryl says, good morning. Since just about everything in RLT is the first time for me, this is quad witching is definitely the first. Thanks for the insight. Yeah, I mean, don't get too freaked out about it, but you will see some absurdity in the market. I've seen, I think the best one. Where were we at on Apple? The best one I saw on I think was I think the best closing I've seen. And today we have more options than historically ever. I think it was on Apple. It was a couple quarters ago, and this was probably 2 years ago. And I was talking with one of my buddies, and we were looking at we were both on the mic together. If anybody remembers Falco, he's around. He's a good dude. But we were looking at those option expirations on Apple, and I think it was somewhere around this 120 zone. So yeah, it was somewhere around here. And I think somewhere at that 120 or 119, 121, whatever the price was, we're like, that's the max pain. Like if we close right into that zone, that is max pain. We'd be shocked to see if it doesn't close there. And this was up like to 128 within the last 3 minutes of the market, last maybe 4 or 5 minutes of the market. It went from like this 128 right into that perfectly into that zone that just max pains everybody in the option world, and then it closes, and we're like, wow, okay. But yeah, you'll see some wild moves I think today, and today we have more options than we did back then too. So I don't know, it's gonna be interesting. So in terms of like patterns and looking for sentiment, it could change very quickly. But like I said, today I think what my goal is to try as hard as possible to not buy the breakouts in the first 15 minutes. Anything past the first 15 minutes, I think we could go back, relatively speaking, to kind of normal trading. By the way, if you're newer at trading, and also depends on where you're at for the week, for the day, for the month, all that stuff. In terms of are you up, are you down? Sitting on your hands for 15, 20 minutes is not a bad option. Like don't ever feel FOMO for not being it, because the market is open the rest of the day, and the market opens fresh and things kind of reset to a little bit normal markets on Monday. So there's always another trade. There's always something else. So don't have the FOMO. But I think today, if we could get some kind of like random open, we gap down, we have a heavy sell off. I think almost fading any move that we get, whether it is bullish at open or bearish at open, I think is the better. Uh, I don't know what that means, Lucian. And you're on hosted panels, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly what that means. But let me know what tickers you guys got. I see Disney in the chat. Yep. Take a look at that one first. So we were right into that 200. We are gapping down a little bit, 2 pennies, so nothing too crazy. Essentially flat to where we closed yesterday. Key numbers back above 100, which is good. We thought that this one could dip a little bit underneath 100 again, and then maybe try to find some footing. We did come in. We closed that gap from here. So if Disney wants to start to rally, and again, it's the day to the day. I don't know. I don't know where those options are set for. We'll have to take a look. But yeah, we're right in that 200. So the big line that we got across is this 101.92. If we get a little pullback, which I think is probably more than likely, we get a little pullback. I'm not expecting too much, but I'm looking for about 101.51, and maybe we come down, we wick into like a 101.09 zone would be a very interesting spot to wick. And then try to get this second momentum into that 200 to break out. But we'll have to watch that. And again, back to that FOMO comment that I made before. I just don't want to be a buyer right here. Does that mean that we're not going to just automatically reject this 200 and come in and wick down here? No, that's just what I would like to see happen. The other way to play it is if you get that break above it, and then whether it's today or Monday or sometime next week, you're kind of playing that retest back into that 200. So I just don't want to, if I get into this trade today, right? Let's say I take a day trade because it looks like it's breaking right this second. I could easily get filled on this trade on the way up, and then that turns into a mini trap, and we come down and we close somewhere under 102, 101, something like that, just to please the option traders today. But we'll see. But yeah, if we get a pullback, especially into that zone right there. I could go stop here. You have a decent swing trade, probably even an okay day trade. That might be a little wide for a day trade, knowing that you do have a couple moving averages right above you. But right now it's just chilling and it's starting to look decent. We just got to get above that 200 on it. See, I got off the screen by accident. Hold on. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah. I got you. Yeah, no, he's my boy. GILD. James thinking of him yesterday. Yeah, no. I talk to him all the time still. He's a good guy. Good guy. All right. We got Gilead. I think they got approval on a drug today, or at least into the next phase. Let me see exactly what happened. This is the 21st strength seen in Gilead. Can it jump 8.5%? The surge is most likely attributed to positive results from late study Purpose 1 within twice yearly. Yeah, good luck on this one. Lane, yeah, that thing demonstrate. I've always said we need some more of that. I don't know, you know, demonstrates potential for new tool to prevent HIV infections with zero infections. All right, so they got approval on an HIV drug. Is a good divvy on Gilead? GILD dividends. Yeah, it would be helpful if I use a G. There you go, 4.5%. So in terms of the chart, at least you are opening into a little bit of resistance. You do have that 200 right here. Looks like we're slightly above it at open, but this is probably a decent rejection spot. And we got all of that. And a lot of times, anything biotech, it is typically sell the news. So now that we have that approval, we're into a pretty major resistance. We got the 200 right here. We'll see if this one wants to hold that 200. But I would be looking probably more for at least if it comes down, at least if it does come down 68.77, and then we got 68.27 will be good, interesting buy spots. But longer term on this chart, you're just kind of hanging out. It's got a decent pullback spot, so at least you are bouncing off of a little bit of longer term kind of support, which makes sense if there's a lot of buyers down here. You get this good move yesterday. Some bulls probably trying to stay in there for see if you get a little follow through. You get this gap up. I think this one probably more than likely fades, especially with all that volume that we got to push our faces into all the way up here. Targets to the high side if we do get some kind of rally. I got 73.44. I think we'll probably max out somewhere in that zone today. But I see a few reasons why I think this one might want to fade lower. So I'd give that a candle and then maybe try to play that fade on that. Sell the news. Yep, 4.41. Probably 4.41 now with this gap up. And then I think it was like, what did it say? 4.5? 4.5. That was probably yesterday's closing price. So we'll see. AVGO. This is one that has run up like crazy. I think this one will be heavily messed with today for quad witching. I think this one probably ends up coming down lower. Would love to see some kind of buying out of the gate into 1731. And again, this one might be one of those, and a lot of these I think might be some of those frustrating ones where I'm looking at this thing going, yeah, I think this one fades. I would like to see some kind of bouncing. I think more than likely we probably stall out and we just chop around and we just hold it until the last 30 minutes. I think this is like that last 30-minute sell-off, last hour sell-off, maybe. But I would love to see it hang out in this range for a little bit. And then I think the options kind of push this one down. I do have some kind of support around 1679. And then anything past that, we're pretty much in wide open field. Not a lot holding us back. But again, I think this one is one of those that has run up like crazy on earnings and momentum, the stock split, all that good stuff. But I do think this is one that probably will get messed with today heavily. So let's see. Let's get this one higher just so we can watch it. I think it will be a fun one to watch regardless. But I would be a little bit more short, just not right out of open. And let me go to the other one that I think is heavily messed with today, which would be NVIDIA. It's already kind of coming down. Hmm. So again, any type of buying, maybe we get stalled out at 128.98. I think a better spot if we could get back into this would be, and we already have. I didn't place this swing trade, but we were talking about this one yesterday. So now we have this gap down, right? I would love to get in this one somewhere back at this 132 and then look to kind of play this down. That is a bearish engulfing candle. Doesn't mean that Nvidia is overbought. Probably is a little bit. Has to most likely pull back at some point. Doesn't mean it's going out of business. But what a lot of the this is where the options kind of come in on this one. You have a lot of the sell the calls from because it's been moving like crazy. So a lot of the hedge funds, money managers will sell calls. As this thing starts to continue to move up higher, those calls are going to get called away. Those guys are on the hook. So what they do to almost diversify their portfolios is buy shares up. So now they're actively buying shares that they're holding just to counterweight the calls that they're selling. And that helps push the stock higher. After today, okay, we get fresh positions. So that could cause something like Nvidia to pull back. And we said this yesterday too in the swing room. We saw it yesterday, pretty early on, like during the day, especially as it was developing. But we were getting some sell offs in some of these tech names, some of these names that have run a lot. MU was another one of them. AVGO we just talked about, and you're starting to see these guys drop a little bit. And again, they had one heck of a move, but you're not seeing the money being pulled from the market. You are seeing rotation to some of the smaller names, some of the names that have been a little bit more beat up or just haven't really moved yet. So I think we're seeing market rotation as opposed to sell everything in the market. I don't think the fear is on the table for sell everything, but I think these bigger companies probably need those bigger pushes to the downside. But again, we have all those options expiring. We got the calls that the money managers were looking to buy shares, protect themselves against selling those calls. And then now on Monday, those options are gone, but they still have the shares on the table. Now they're a little overweight on terms of shares. And I think just them clearing some of those shares off the table just to rebalance their books, that helps bring some of the stocks down a little bit as well. So we'll see how it plays out. It should be a fun day. We got Adobe. We do have the swing trade that I set up yesterday on Adobe. That would be this one right here. I believe I'm targeting a 1.2. So 1.2, 1.4, something like that. Still kind of playing off this gap. I hope I don't get filled today. Honestly, I don't really want to. I want to wait till Monday, but we are holding a good volume zone, 523. Yeah, about 523. But I'm looking at this going, okay, that is a good gap, fantastic gap. We're still holding above this volume zone. Still hanging out, even that candle, just all inside that little hammer. So to me, it's still showing some bullish momentum. Yesterday was bullish as well, even though it's a red candle. It was more or less just a retest gap. So now if we take the break above that candle, I'm good with it. As a day trade, and that just gives me good risk to reward. So if we start breaking up higher and then eventually we start breaking down that green candle where the bulls last came in, so be it. Take my R. I'll move on. I'll find something else. But otherwise, I think that's a good spot where it really shouldn't break this candle. It shouldn't at least take me into this trade and then break that candle. So that's how I'm setting up my swing. Day trade basis, again, this probably be a little patient and open, but I would be leaning a little bit more bullish. I think the sentiment in here is bullish, especially if we get that pullback and we start holding this 523.21. So give me that little pullback first, give me some chop, and then I think even as a day trade, target wise, I don't know. I mean, we are still gonna have this big resistance around 525.50, but we've messed with that twice. We just got a little jump up there. I'm not sure how accurate that is. But I would be leaning a little bit more bullish even on a day trade for this one if you have to take it. I don't know where targets would be. That wouldn't be my target for day trade. Maybe targets if we have a really good day on Adobe, we probably get to like extended target would probably be 543.59. So that does give us about a $10 move northbound. So we'll see on that. Nike, NKE. Retest gap into resistance. I got the 200, which would probably be my bigger target. And then prior to that, probably about 99.01. Let's get Nike up there. It's got room. It is a retest gap as well. And we're opening at resistance. So I would look for that immediate fade. Let's see where I would like to buy this one. I don't know how we can handle this 96.91 zone. Probably I would like it to stall out somewhere around 96.13. If we go lower than that for the full retest of that previous VPOC, that's 95.63. That's going to add a little bit more resistance for the way up. And I don't want to fight through that. But if we get some kind of clean bounce off of this 96.13, we're still at that moving average. That looks good. That does technically retest yesterday's candle. And then since we're up here already, the second time up, I think is a little bit easier to get through. But really good gap on this one. Just that one resistance scares me off, but we got a decent amount of room. Do we have any? Yeah, I don't really have too much volume really holding me back in this range as well. In fact, where's this coming? 99.21. So right around that zone we were just talking about. So yeah, we got some room on that one. We'll keep that one pretty high on the list. Meta, META. Meta still flat. I don't know if the options are going to be messing with this one as much as some of the other ones. It's obviously we are pretty high on this. I would say based on whatever the rest of the market's doing, that will add the pressure or give it a little boost. But we're just kind of flat on this one for right now. It does look like at the moment we're in some kind of pennant pattern. But yeah, we're just chilling. To the higher side, if we have a great day, 509.34. It could get a little bit scary to the downside. So 498.72 would be my support, but we already hit that one yesterday and held. So I think the next time down to that zone is a little bit easier to break, and then we're probably looking for like 494.24. Not much edge out of the gate though. Maybe a little bullish if I had to take this trade. Um, the safe stop would be here. That's kind of where sentiment changes. But you could come in a little bit tighter, probably to the low of yesterday too, 496.60. You got one tiny little resistance somewhere around 502.73. I mean, maybe give me a pullback into yesterday's VPOC at open since we are still inside day. So bullish here somewhere. Now I'm risking about $6, just over six. You can maybe squeeze a 1.2 on targets up into the zone. Unless, of course, it breaks and just has a crazy, crazy day, which I don't know if that happens. But yeah, I don't think that one gets messed with as much. We got Etsy, ETSY. This might be a fun name to watch today. Yep, definitely a beat up name. Rotation could be maybe moving some dollars into here. Decent longer term double bottom. We kind of came a little bit lower than I would like. That one looks impressive as a high wave candle. That was a good bearish trap. So anybody kind of shorting underneath there, shorting underneath there, they're all essentially trapped on that gap. But then we're now breaking lower on this one too. I like the amount of room that we have to the higher side. So to the higher side, the first stop I got about a psychological hole number two. There could be some options around 60. But I think that $60 is going to be a pretty big factor today. If you get a little bit more of a push, maybe $60.40. Anything above that, you could see quite the reversal to 63.79. So we'll see how this one plays out. This is technically a retest gap, so maybe wait for a mini pullback. Maybe a high wave candle. I just said I really don't want to take those breaks in the first 15 minutes, but yeah, if I can get a high wave candle on that one, they might get me. They might get me. I have to be pretty confident though that we could get past 60. Asana, good volume yesterday. This is a gap and go. Maybe we're trapping some bears. Asana announces $150 million stock repurchase program. Market would like that one. Pretty interesting double bottom location from longer term. Not a lot really holding us back up until I think starting at like the $13 range. This looks like a absolute death chart right now at the moment. If that double bottom doesn't hold. But that is a good buyback program. Decent. And then we could be trapping some shorts. Let's get this one up on the list too. Tesla's starting to push a little bit pre-market. And get this one higher. Looks like a fun little gap and go. You do have the first resistance is right in front of us, 1186. If I was to take this trade, I'm hoping we're squeezing enough bears on this volume. And then the next target after that is 1205. If we could break that, we got 1236 is where I'd want my kind of final targets to be, I think. CTLT. This one I have no idea what company it is. Pharmaceuticals. June 7th was the last time they had any news, so I'm not really sure why the gap up on this one. Definitely trapping some bears. I don't know volatility on this one, so I'm not 100% sure. You do have your next resistance at least at 5703. If we get through that one, this one can get kind of that wild day, 5822, but this is quite the little gap so far. Let's see, longer term, do I have any crazy volume? Yeah, if we can start getting above 5665, bulls probably want to hold this thing at 5960. How is that the bell already? No, that's too quick. That's too quick. But everybody in YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. I didn't get to all the tickers today. That's wild. There's a lot. There's a lot happening today, and I think there will be continued volume volatility today too. So just be careful of that. Otherwise, you guys are all